少卿宁静，几人兵器交于一处，宣示上报国家，下安黎庶。公元190年，汉室危在旦夕，内有奸宦贪墨成风，外有董卓欺主罔上。四海本是一片安宁，如今却是烽烟四起。奈何天子暗弱，屡受权臣董卓威压。乱军四起，权臣威风，皇权旁落，真可谓四海煎熬。虽然他们营区已腐，合兵一处，但这种脆弱的联盟必定不会长久。
Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new series of Total War 3 Kingdoms. I would say one of the top 3 Total Wars ever, and that is quite the bold statement. We are going to be playing as Yuan Shao, styled Yan Benshu, the very person who brought in the tyrant Dong Zhuo to relieve the empire of the eunuchs, and of course cause further destruction than they had previously hoped for on the realm, splitting China into the greater civil war that lasted roughly 100 years or just over, which is rather nasty indeed. I'm sure you will agree. So, Yuan Shao, not particularly my favourite character historically, because he was rather fatuous. However, he was known to have little moments here and there of great genius and inspiration, allowing him to cut through the just constant babbling between his advisors and actually take the executive decisions himself sometimes. Well, that is a big sometimes. So we're starting with our two main champions of Yuan Shao, alongside Yuan Shao himself, of course, of Yan Liang and Wen Chou. This is a vanguard character and a champion character, so both very much made for fighting en masse, or fighting the larger unit types, and of course dueling quite well as well. The game doesn't tell you that vanguards are particularly good at dueling, but I find generally they actually are pretty, they can be among the best duelers, which is very nice indeed. However, Yuan Shao's main faction mechanic is lineage, and this not only allows recruitment of new characters, it primarily allows the recruitment of captain retinues. So the idea or basis of Yuan Shao is actually to ignore main style characters and actually go for these like trash stack armies and go for these captain retinues. Whether we really go for that or not, we'll see. It depends what we're looking like from time to time. So we can also forge alliances from the start, which is very nice indeed, because you need to forge alliances and coalitions yourself to actually get more lineage a little more actively. You can get lineage from battles, but to get a steady income of lineage you do need to have active alliances and coalitions that you've started. So we also get a Yuan administration office. This is just an upgraded government type building. Does the usual public order and income from sources, but will also give us a more standard income of lineage, which is excellent. And we get the Captain Armory feature, as well as a new occupation type. Our special units are the Warriors of Ye and the Defenders of Hebei over here, which is excellent stuff. Some very nice spear type infantry there. So we're going to be starting the standard 190 beginning, which means we're going to be starting at war with Yuan Shao over here. We're going to have a bit of a fight with Gongsun Zan over here. Historically, Yuan Shao did swallow up the territory of Gongsun Zan, despite Gongsun Zan actually having the famous warrior Zhao Yun, until of course Liu Bei very courteously asked for him to join his side. Of course, Gongsun Zan, rather indecisive himself, so Yuan Shao rather getting lucky if you ask me there. So, no particular aims, just going for a standard victory here. We're going to try and declare ourselves Emperor, remove the tyrant Dong Zhuo, try and make a bid for the Emperor perhaps as early as possible, but we'll see where we stand with that. And I quite like to make vassals as much as possible in this game because they're fairly useful. And that does help out, I believe, with our lineage. We'll find out about that a little later on. But we are playing with romance mode. And that's about it really. We've got timeless characters on and we're playing fairly standard difficulties. There are other people out there to help you learn to play the game a little more in depth at harder difficulties. So it's not about that. It's just simply enjoying the game as it comes. So without further ado, let's get ruddy bloody going. Okay, so we're going to skip over the rundown of how our faction's standing at the moment. So it's not a problem there. So our initial missions is standard, you know, be wary of the Han and the Yellow Turbans and Gongsun Zan. Just try and swallow those up as quickly as possible until a certain date when the Emperor comes of age, claiming the Han Empire territory is free game. Defeating the Yellow Turbans is always free game. Because you can't actually go to peace directly with them until they've evolved themselves. That's not counterintuitive towards there a little bit, so we don't necessarily want them to grow. We don't want peace with them. So we also have to be aware of Gongsun Zan as well. We get the standard, you know, engage the following general. Army right in front of us. We will get a taste of victory for more military supplies and a bit more morale for the next few turns. Do we have a good start with ancillaries though? This is random start all the time. Not too bad actually with the trader. Quite nice trade influence actually on a main style character. So your faction leader, prime minister, or even faction heir. So it's probably good to give Yuan Shao himself this trader. We do get the classic of filial piety. I think I'm going to use that one mostly for the 10 satisfaction, which is a mechanic we'll cover in just a second for newer players. And a clay cup. This is not the best, not the worst, but a little more authority and a little more satisfaction. We're going to be using this as a bargaining chip in diplomacy to help out our very, very limited income to begin with, and we're going to be struggling with income for the majority of the game, I think. It's just how this game plays out. If you don't play the diplomacy properly, if you don't sell off your surplus food, which is something we'll be keeping on top of, you will be very low on income. So let's start this off by giving Yuan Shao the trader, who is on the followers. We also start with an eavesdropper, which does give us a little more authority. But that's just the minor thing there. We do want this trade influence, so we do get more money from trade. We don't start with any specifically amazing weapons, so just our unique Yuan Shao weapon there, standard horse, and we could probably give him the classic of filial piety here, just for a little more income, or just for a little more cunning rather. That's not to worry about there, I don't think. Let's see about our traits. Get the 50% income from family estates. It's fairly standard. 2 military suppliers for army. Getting courage, spy actions. That's absolutely fine. Nothing really to shout about. Get more satisfaction faction wide, which is excellent. And that means our characters over here should be that little bit more satisfied with us. We get Xu You, very famous strategist over here. Famous in the fact that he actually betrayed Yuan Shao at the Battle of Guandu and exposed the supply depots to Cao Cao. But we're going to start this battle immediately. And it should be fairly easy there, so we're going to start that right now. Okay, so we're not going to do anything special here at all. We're just going to try and get Yuan Shao to duel the enemy leader, and then we're going to get our cavalry into 2 groups and just pincer the rest of the army there. Should be absolutely fine to win this battle with very few, if any, losses at all. So let's charge Yuan Shao forwards here. So Yuan Shao, for those that are not too familiar with the game's mechanics, is a commander type character. So that means he's focused around the authority stat, improving people's satisfaction and morale in his retinue. You can see the retinue split up in these boxes here, led by the distinctive general. So we're going to accept this duel. Should be winning that fairly handily. So Yuan Shao, the commanders are based around having a mixed retinue. They were once focused on... Oh, we've been unhorsed there already. Very, very nasty indeed. Doesn't always bode well there. But yeah, we'll get certain stats and perks, meaning we can have a mixed retinue, which is excellent for us there. We're not doing too great there, are we? Lovely stuff. He's getting getting chucked over a bit, getting thrown about, but we should hit harder. So let's get over and get our cavalry into position, shall we? Just run these up. Guess on like that. All good there. No need for this battle to take too long at all. We don't have any special active abilities to help us in this duel, but we do get a passive buff if friendly units with the same passive buff are in range, just to increase our damage really. So that's quite good if we have perhaps a family member in the same army to help out with that, which might be something we want to think about in the future. Fairly close actually, this duel. What was his name? Suijun is a sentinel character, meaning he does have more melee evasion. He will take less damage, but he doesn't always dish out so much damage. And you can see the health bars here not doing too great for Suijun there at all. So we're going to try and get on the back of... actually, no, we'll let Yuan Shao finish his duel first, and we can run him straight into the enemy there. Just pull back out of their missile range there. Okay, so now Yuan Shao has very valiantly won that duel and actually taken very little damage himself, which is excellent. We're going to let him mount back up again, and we're going to be rather a crazy bastard and just run straight into the enemy Saber militia here, which is absolutely brilliant. It's the great effect of the romance mode here is this, so we can just do this. It's quite the focus, of course, on single famous characters, but we are now going to run in with our cavalry and get in the flanks of this infantry to help out Yuan Shao. Just get on the backs of the archers first. Be very, very nice indeed. And just speed up a tad, because it doesn't need to take too long. I want to get a couple of things done in this episode. There we go, come crashing in there. Lovely stuff. Very, very meaty charge onto the backs of these archers here. You can see they are already routing. Lost half of their men here already as well. These units are shattered over here, so we're going to help out Yuan Shao. Make sure he doesn't take too much damage, because we will want to focus on him for the next battle as well. So just getting this large charge here. Absolutely devastating. Absolutely devastating. We can hear their horns of retreat there, hopefully. They are routing and shattered. A very nice victory there indeed. So, yeah, very nice 0 losses. Gained a little bit of loot, which is very nice indeed. Always helps. We should have gained 15 lineage for a victory. Lovely. And we're going to take... it's only 2% replenishment. Don't really need it. It's the tiniest amount on Yuan Shao there. We're going to take the income for the ransom there. That'll mean we get that. We need to capture the following. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Bit of public order and faction support just for taking that over a little easier there. So let's get straight into that. And we're going to do a manual battle here. And once again, nothing too special for this battle, relying a lot on Yuan Shao himself to attack the main infantry and running backwards and forwards with our cavalry, except this time incorporating our archers a little bit, just to damage the enemy's morale there. There we go, with that very simple battle done. 9 lost there and a bit more damage done to Yuan Shao, so did charge him straight in. That's how we're going to be playing a lot of these battles. We're going to be focusing on a lot of cavalry and archers, hopefully. Things turn out that way depending on what characters we get. But playing as Yuan Shao, the main use of lineage I find is with this very special secure and occupy action here. We do have to spend a lot of lineage here. It's going to be most of ours. But for more faction support, military supplies, the replenishment on our armies, 20% is huge, which is just allows us to move on a bit quicker between conquests rather than sit and wait around for a lot of turns, which is very nice to be able to play that quickly. So we're going to go for that for a lot of our occupations there, which is very, very nice indeed. So, bit of experience for Yuan Shao. And we do have to construct a building for better costs and such faction-wide. We're going to take a closer look at that. We are going to try and upgrade Yuan Shao. So, where do we want to go? It says he's got a level up, but 0 points, which is rather interesting. Why is it saying that then? That's very interesting. Must just be for the buildings over here. Reading that wrong, not to worry. So what we're going to guess over here. It's largely a farmland-oriented place. We're going to get government support to begin with to increase the food production and income from peasantry, as well as reduce military building and construction costs. But not going to worry too much about that just yet. So that's increased our income to 191 for now, and given us a little better food stockpile there. What can we do about an assignment to help us out there? I quite like assigning our first son Yen Tan over here to increase the income from peasantry. So that will go over for the next turn, because we are largely, well, very mostly a peasantry income oriented place in the province of Wei here, which is excellent. I'm going to try and get into a little bit of diplomacy as well. We want to try and maintain good relations with someone fairly close by, quite likely Cao for now actually. Cao, a little cliche, perhaps my favourite Three Kingdoms character. We can't get a coalition just yet, just because he's not got the greatest opinion of that. Cao, quite the reformist and modernist as far as Three Kingdoms standards go, with a lot of his policies and such, and his approach to using power. We are going to sell off our eavesdropper as well. We could get the concubine off of him actually for that satisfaction and give that to Yen Tan, as he is our faction heir, and that will improve everyone's satisfaction overall. We could give that a go. Still doesn't like that. The concubine, very much in Cao Cao's own historical character, too precious for him. Let's see. What we want to get out of this is just a regular payment for 10 turns. We'll get what we can out of this. So, for those that don't know, Cao Cao may not have been the father of the kingdom, but he was a father of the good portion of it. A bit like Charles II. So, we're going to just flip backwards and forwards. We're going to do this through a lot of the diplomacy. Missed it there actually. To as favourable as min-max mid-tad as we can there. We'll settle on the plus 0.2 there to get the mild increase to opinions there, and a lot of income. Very nice early income of 305 income for 10 turns. That is excellent. And later on, when we do get a higher food stockpile there, we will get a lot of food trade going. Can we get a decent trade agreement just yet? Don't want to trade with Han Fu because we'll get a special event with him later. I'm a little on the cautious side of trading with either Wang Kuang or Zhang Yang, and that's because I do hope to dominate them later. I might want to actually save a trade agreement for later on. Perhaps we can trade with either Liu Bei or Kong Rong, who are just south of the river over here on this border. So it will limit our income to start with, but not to worry. I think we've done all we can to begin with, so let's end the first turn, shall we, finally. Alrighty, so mission success, build a building. We get less construction costs and such. Not that we can really, I should have done in one turn. Let's double check that. And we can finally recruit units. It's very strange of Three Kingdoms to lock you out of recruiting units from turn 1, but not to worry. A few characters can be recruited. We're going to be checking that every end turn for particularly famous characters. And yeah, we can construct in Wei as well. We're going to construct irrigated farms. We're not going to go for food trader because this is more focused around building up your taxation income and thereby your population. But it does reduce the overall food production. And food production, in my eye, is just the way to go. Although this does increase your general income. So we might think about that later in other provinces. But generally, as a rule of thumb, irrigator farms is a no-brainer for me. Are we going to recruit anyone? Do we need to recruit anyone? Because we are going to look at taking Huinei next. We're going to try and go for Huaishan over here. So the standing army, mostly archers, couple spears with a strategist general. The actual garrison is fairly strong with a couple shielded spear guards and some cavalry to watch out for. However, I think we can pretty much deal with that. I don't like the idea of recruiting too much to begin with, but I think we're going to just get 1, maybe 2 units of G militia. I think we get just the 1 unit of G militia. Let that muster up over a couple turns, and then we can lay siege to Huinei over here. Okay, so we were going to skip over to the siege of Huaishan over here, but the standing army has actually left the garrison. So we're actually going to look at poking our heads in over there. It does stand... Oh, it's on the river over there. Excellent. We might be able to just force or demand a surrender here. Going to try our luck. If not, we'll just retreat back and wait for that army to come out and force an open field fight. Yeah, we can't demand a surrender there, unfortunately, which is very, very sad indeed. However, I think what we're going to do is check our military supplies, continue the siege for now. Yeah, we're actually still gaining military supplies, so we can lay siege to that. Hopefully the army will come over here back onto the land, force an engagement outside of the walls over here. And we can deal with both of these in one swoop. Again, rely on Yuan Shao and our cavalry to deal with the enemy there. Okay, so after a couple turns of sieging down the enemy, they have tried to break the siege and sally forth. We're going to take a map view over here. Yes, it's just open plains. We're not fighting the city. I do try and stay away from siege battles where possible, simply because they're just a lot of effort, as they were historically. So we're going to go straight into the battle here. The standing army, which was garrisoning here, has actually been taken up by Pei Yuan Shao, belonging to the Yellow Turbans close to us. So good and bad news there. It means that the Yellow Turbans are actually being very active, and that's going to be a bit of a problem for us if they are overly active. They are usually taken up by Liu Bei very quickly, but we'll see about that. We shall see. So, should be a fairly easy battle, once again, using very same tactics once again. However, we're going to have to watch out for Yuan Shao. He hasn't recovered 100% of his health. That's not to worry. That's really not to worry. We're going to move up with our archers, take off skirmish mode, and actually bring our G militia behind them so that the archers can run through and behind them. Bring our saber militia to here so they can flank around if it does come into a melee, but I doubt that would be the case. We do need to watch out for the saber cavalry over here. Individually, I think actually better than our... no, we are saber cavalry rather than saber militia, so that was the worry there. So it should be all good. And we'll move everyone up here to get in range, move up with the army. Not too bothered about running this group here rather than walking, it's all good. Okay, so just try and waste a bit of ammunition here. They won't be too accurate against Yuan Shao. Yeah, there we go. So they're aiming for the cavalry over here. If we try and isolate this cavalry with Yuan Shao and then come down with our own, just to overwhelm that, then what we can do is actually get out of the archery range over here. Push on past the spear units where possible. fact, what I'm going to do is bring Yuan Shao out over here. Don't want to face them on the backs. Want our shields to face them if possible there. Get Yuan Shao into the archers over here. And just actually take the hill if possible. Just distract the archers there. Come back around the flanks with this group over here. And this shouldn't be spear. Oh, they are the shielded spear guards. So it's a bit of a waste of ammunition on them. But we'll go for it nonetheless. Right, and now we can overwhelm the enemy cavalry. And that will free up our own cavalry to do as they want later on. I do wish I had an area of effect attack over here with Yuan Shao, but once again, he's not necessarily a fighting character. In fact, historically, Yuan Shao was more at home with writing poetry in his spare time. Yeah, we'll just bring him out over here. Send units of cavalry over here to make sure this unit does rouse off because they are wavering a tad there. How are we doing over here with our own units? We lost one or two people over there for now. It's not so bad at all. Just have to watch out for the enemy spears, of course. The classic enemy of cavalry. And despite them being mostly militia, we do have to worry about that, of course, here. So just chase off these archers, make sure they do finally shatter. Not fully engaging them here properly, but not to worry there. We're doing okay against the enemy cavalry here. They are shaken. Perhaps a charge into the flank would do them well there. But we are now engaging roughly with the spears over here with the Yuan Shao. So what we'll do is bring up our own archers, try and fire on them a tad. They are spear guards, unfortunately, so they will be shielded, but shouldn't worry so much if they aren't facing us. Do have to watch out for this G militia over here. It's in fact an infantry captain, so be a tad better. Might want to bring up our own saber militia over here just to pin down where possible. Try and get out the battle here, cycle round a tad. Help out Yuan Shao here with a charge, I think, if possible. Not straight in to their front would be nice, thank you. Just watch out for that. Which way is the enemy facing? Coming straight into us. Just at the last second there. Just get out at the last second. Try and get them with Yuan Shao there. Get onto their backs if possible. Looks like that might be the case. We'll cycle in and out there. How are we doing over here? This cavalry is taking quite the while to pin down, isn't it? I think what we do is send the G militia over here. And we actually use our archers to fire on the unshielded spears over there. And that is excellent. We're running down here, so bring our own cavalry. Actually, charge them down with the cavalry and bring Yuan Shao over once again. And try and occupy some spears, maybe. Just watching the enemy cavalry over here. Try and bring everything back into the battle so they're not irrelevant. We should be okay here. We can take advantage of their wavering morale just to force the enemy off. Try and get as many shots into the unshielded units over here as possible. Force them in. Maybe we can flank around with our saber militia if possible in a second. We have shattered the enemy units over there. And there we go. The cavalry is finally dealt with. We will be very risky. Go straight in there. I think we will send 1-on-1 there, and then we can charge into the flanks over here. Very nice indeed. Get this little charge in. Yuan Shao has been unhorsed because he is right in the middle of infantry and spears, but actually that should be better. He's no longer counted as a large unit, I believe, so we will be fighting a little better against his spears. Just to worry about him being a tad overwhelmed there. And having said that, let's watch out for our own infantry here. Bring the cavalry out, we can cycle charge them a tad. And what we'll do is actually cancel our fire orders there so we don't hurt our own men. And there we go, they're rousing off here, which is excellent. Get a charge in here, and that should be the end of the militia over here. Very nice indeed. Whoa, fairly meaty charges on Three Kingdoms. Enemies do go flying, but that is a very, very nice decisive victory, and the province should be ours. Let's go. Very nice indeed. They do have some survivors. I should have chased people off. but that's just a case of a very quick auto-resolve on the next battle. So, having said that, I'm actually going to take the tiny bit of replenishment there. And we do get a little lineage rank after that, but it's not to worry. Get another ancillary, get another clay ox. We can use that for diplomacy. And we get the ability to give someone the title Iron General to win a decisive defensive battle there. Yuan Shao has finally leveled up. And just one minor character there to worry about. So, what are we going to go for? I quite like the extra replenishment when commanding. Yuan Shao certainly is commanding. What does that lead into? Can go for mighty knockback later on. On this side, we also get the passive buff of a morale boost. Quite the large morale boost if we are not engaged in melee ourselves as Yuan Shao. So there's a little more passive commander there. If we go over to our right side over here, we can go for the Unyielding Earth, which is an active buff of melee evasion and charge resistance. Very, very nice there. Means they're basically untouchable with the 100% melee evasion, though. Excellent. We also get the ability to deal more damage. So it's more offensive over here. And I do really like that. We also get the ability to increase everyone's starting rank. And then we get the Night Battles. I think we're going to go for flexibility to begin with, so we do get that replenishment buff. Replenishment is always my favourite. So we're going to do a very quick delegate battle. It's going to be some medium casualties here, but that's not to worry. We shouldn't lose anything outright there. Yeah, very nice indeed. So we should be able to sit around. Replenish over here, bits of lineage. Gonna spend it on securing occupying. That's absolutely fine there. Really, really nice indeed. So look, our replenishment is only going to take 3 turns at the most by the looks of things, and that's really not too long if you ask me. That means we can go over to Zhaoge over here over the next turn, or over the next few turns, and fully occupy the southern coast over here. We're going to... This is mostly an agricultural province, so we might want to demolish actually this workshop over here and build something a little more in line with that. Maybe an administration office, because we do have actually a city size province here. What else do we want to put over here though? Mostly income from industry, but not a tiny amount from peasantry. So we could go for more income from peasantry. More food production for a bit. Not necessarily needed. Faction satisfaction and corruption. We don't have a lot of corruption here at all. 0 corruption, so it's not really the most needed at the moment. No one's looking to rebel. So I think we're going to get a little more income from the peasantry there. And that is all we have time for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed the first foray into 3 Kingdoms here. It's a game I very much enjoyed playing, and I hope you have enjoyed watching. Quite a nice start, if I may say so myself. But I've been the Edified Gamer, and I hope to hear your feedback in the comments section below. So if you have any improvements for me, that'd be great. It's always a joy reading those. But in the meantime, I shall see you in the future. May all of your nights and days be auspicious. Goodbye.